Hello and welcome to the World We Live In podcast. I'm your host, Eric Patterson. Alongside me is my sister, Erin. Join us as we explore the amazing, mysterious aspects of our planet's cultures, history, and future trends. Hey, what's going on?
What up?
Oh, man. I feel like every time we are like, oh, we should do this every week.
We don't.
We don't. It's like 3 weeks later, and we're like, oh, man, we should get on the mic.
It's like the friend that you're like, we should meet up.
We should meet up every week for coffee.
Yeah, like we should make this a weekly thing, and then it just isn't. Good thing I like my brother more than most friends.
Yes.
So
yes, that is a good part.
We just are really bad at planning.
We are. Yeah.
So
I just get like Monday. Honestly, these weeks have flown by.
it's nuts.
Yeah, they go by. Well, Thanksgiving flew by, and then a couple past weeks, yeah, same. So I don't know if you all feel the same way, but yeah.
Literally a couple Tuesdays ago, I was convinced it was Friday.
Oh God.
But I think it was a Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so like it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was like prepared to like go out like it was Friday.
Yeah, just
and
check
then
out.
Our mom reminded me that it was Tuesday. And I was like, never, don't be that negative ever again.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Seriously. But, so it's all a blur, but we're doing it. We're making progress.
Yeah.
Not slowing down.
Cool. Anything new?
What's new? I've been to just, like, as we were talking, the weeks flying by, I feel like I've been to a million concerts in the last 2 months.
You've been to quite a few.
And wherever you guys are listening from, if you listen to Spotify, which you can listen to our podcast on Spotify.
You can,
But Spotify Wrapped came out this past week of the time we're recording this podcast. But I set my top 3 artists. I have seen them all in the last year, and then 2 of them in the last like couple months.
Wow.
So like, I feel like that's great.
That's huge, yeah.
Like seeing, taking advantage of where Eric and I live.
Yeah, definitely.
It's cool.
It is cool.
I'm like, I bet all you other losers on your Spotify Wrapped didn't see him in concert, but
No, I didn't. I didn't get to see Harry Styles.
which was your top 4 songs.
Top 4 songs, all Harry Styles.
But
Harry Styles, he got me through the summer.
was it rough for you?
It was rough. The summer was a rough summer.
Always rough summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was like a mix of like very, very country stuff and rap and futuristic pop.
Good.
So we're all over the board.
Love that you're dabbling.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually mine is that way, but that Harry Styles album just
Took over.
You know the albums that they just hit you in a different spot, and man, just took over.
Yep.
It did.
One of my friends, I saw like one of his artists was Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's unexpected, just if you know this guy. And he was like, oh, but Erin, that album, the like one with Dangerous, and he was like, that is one of the best songs ever written.
Dangerous?
Like it just hits so hard.
It does. That was on my last year's for sure.
Yeah.
Our friend Steve. His Spotify Wrapped is what I wish mine looked like. So like I have what I listen to, but if I could have handpicked somebody's that
Someone
I saw,
else's,
it would have been his. It was like Flatland Cavalry,
Turnpike.
Yeah, Turnpike, like Parker McCollum.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I love those artists.
Yeah,
but,
same.
Yeah, so that was I sent him a message and
It's different than like the songs you listen to the most aren't necessarily like really what you like the most. It's just like,
No, totally. Like I haven't listened to Harry Styles in like 3 months, but I listened to him so much at that point. It took over.
Yeah, which I feel like that needs to be a fix. Like if it's super concentrated.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because then it takes over your whole thing.
It does. It's tough though, because like, I mean, it's such a cool thing that Spotify does.
Yeah.
That Wrapped. I know other people aren't huge fans of Spotify for other publishing reasons and all that, but that their their interface is probably the best.
Yeah. Well, anything else?
I don't think so. Just move. I will be moving to a different city here soon. So
it's sad, everyone.
it is sad. The end of the Nashville era.
I didn't realize today when I said, because we were talking about what time we wanted to meet up, and I was like, because he's like kind of out of the city, so I have to like drive, which I just think is like such a hassle, even though it's not. And I was like, oh, I wish we didn't have to be in the same place. Yeah. And he was like, oh, well, we can Zoom.
Yeah.
And not knowing that like we'll have to.
We will
at some point.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that we don't have to yet.
Exactly. Yeah, we got some time. We got some time.
But big life changes.
Big changes. Should be exciting.
Yeah. Well, if you hate the summer, you're gonna hate every month where he's moving.
We're all living. But
which is top secret.
It's top secret. Yeah, you have to figure it out yourselves.
Yeah. Just start guessing.
Yeah, just start guessing. Yeah, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot for a lot of the time.
That narrows it down.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yes, but it'll be fun. It's one of my favorite states.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
But we decided we're gonna just kind of do like a, what's the word? You have your phone?
You kind of like a grab bag. Or, just kind of
like a rapid fire little, some random shit we found over the past couple weeks.
We did find some random shit. We started a. I'm sure some of you listening do this as well. You have like groups. If you're into conspiracies or whatever, you just start a group and just like send shit in there, or you have like.
Just a safe space.
Yeah, just a safe space with some of your friends where you just like send dumb gifts or like dumb, stupid.
Yeah.
Or even like important stuff like political or stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever you're into.
Yeah, whatever your thing is. So that's what we did with me, Erin, and her boyfriend.
It's a great group.
Yeah, because
we're all into it.
Yeah, we're all into it. So
and it's been super entertaining.
No, it's been really fun. Like
Eric's great.
Like I'm all into conspiracies, but like there are some that there's categories. So you got like some conspiracies that you're like, oh, for sure, like this could definitely have happened.
Yeah,
like the mob assassinating JFK.
Yeah.
100%. I think they were in collusion.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much documented if you spend more than an hour reading. Other things like the moon landings where you're like, is it weird that we haven't been back in like 40 years? A little bit. But are they faked? I don't know. And then there's ones that are just like, completely unbelievable.
Just like out of left field.
Yeah, just like out of left field. Like this one that we came across the other day about this guy who offered up his daughter to be a human experiment to create a super soldier.
Right.
And she ended up basically turning into a monster.
Yeah, so then they like exiled her to some cave.
Yeah.
And now like, yeah.
Yeah, now she's like decapitating hikers.
Because they find a ton of heads and like decapitated bodies.
Which this is true in the Superstition Mountains in Arizona. They do find decapitated hikers like a lot. Like now by a lot I mean like,
but like more than you'd like to find a decapitated person.
Exactly. Yeah, enough to where it's like this is not right.
It wasn't just one wacko who went and like decapitated someone. Like
exactly.
It's reoccurring.
Yeah. And it's a very remote area, so that's the part too. So, well, where are we going to start?
Well, we've gotten, there's been like a handful of stories of people who've been, so like children will be like 5 or 6 and start talking about things that a 6-year-old shouldn't talk about. And so once the parents and whoever do some digging, they basically are saying they find out these kids like lived a past life and they can give details about this prior person's life that they would have no reason to know. But they'll use like first person, like, oh, I died in a car crash or whatever. Really freaky stuff like that. Now, whether that's like they were that person or like that like person is like took over them or is like inside of them, I don't know. But it's really creepy. That one of that little boy. Oh, maybe it was this one.
With the Hollywood one?
I don't know that one.
Oh, yeah.
The Hollywood one though.
Yeah.
Is good.
Yeah. the Hollywood one, yeah, it was really weird. It was this little kid who, like, I think it was like he was around like 5 or 6, and he began to say something to the extent of like, "Oh, this life is like so bad. Like, why is everything so dirty?" And like something like, "Oh, I'm so poor." And the kid's like 6 years old. You're like
he has no.
Yeah, you're like, you have
idea
no
what
reference.
rich or poor is. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, hold on. And so I guess things progressed, and like the parents went and found, like, they started getting more information, and they found like
they were asking him questions.
Yeah, they were asking him questions, and they got more information, and they found these old videos of this Hollywood actor who I'd never heard of. Like he wasn't. It wasn't like Charlie Chaplin or any like super famous, but
probably like your typical mid-level actor.
Yeah, but in the 1920s in Hollywood, everybody was just like,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it was, and they were going insane out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this kid ended up, he like recognized his old self in these videos.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and he like started to like talk about what he used to do, and he lived this lavish lifestyle, which is why he was saying that his current life was so shit,
right?
Because he was living in like opulent wealth in the 1920s California.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the one that the other little kid, I guess, was having his diaper changed by his dad. And he said, "When I was your age, I changed your diaper."
Yes.
And then he was like, "Oh, okay. That's terrifying." But then they went and decided that, like, he was his father's father. So, like, he was reincarnated when his, like, the grandfather died, and then he came back as the guy's son.
Exactly.
But just because he was speaking in full sentences at, like, months old. I think it said, like, 18 months or whatever.
Yeah, that's the other weird thing. It's like they're beyond intelligence of a normal child at that age. Yeah.
Which is funny because, you know, there's always like the like phrase like, "Oh, in my past life I must have like." No, these people really like
it seemingly would seem that they are reincarnated. I mean, it's tough because like you think, "Oh, maybe they could have like seen a video or seen a movie and like memorize certain things and like just, you know, children just regurgitate shit, like,
and you don't think they're paying attention, but
exactly. I mean, like I coach middle school and high school boys in soccer, and they'll just say shit, and I'm like, you don't even know. I don't tell them this, but I'm like, you don't even know what that means,
right?
They'll just, you know,
say it.
It's just part of learning. They just say so. Maybe, but
I just think they're so interesting. Like, I didn't even know those stories were a thing. But Eric started sending them, and I'm all about it. And then there's, like, we got into these, like, celebrities that have a double or, like, a twin. Celebrities actually dead. Those, I think, are fun.
That was a
like
weird...
Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, the Avril Lavigne conspiracy that she got replaced by her media double because she died. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Did you see that? Remember the one I sent you about the Doja Cat music video?
Yes.
That one's really weird.
Yeah.
Because basically the whole music video is a Masonic ritual. And there's like a chessboard, and there's like the pentagrams, and like she looks like she's like Satan or something. It's really sketchy.
Yep.
And with that, I'm like, is she just mocking the stereotype that Hollywood is like controlled by whatever you want to call it, Satan, satanic worship? Like, do celebrities like sell their souls to get famous, or is it like something more like blatant, where she's like, this shit actually happens?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Part of me is like, can you be that obvious?
Right.
But I don't know. It's a weird one. Yeah, there's like there's a birthday cake with 27 on it. Have you heard of the 27 Club? I think it's the 27 Club.
Well, when I watched the video.
Yeah. A lot of really, really famous people have died before they reach the age of 27.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, everyone's wearing like masks with these animal. Like the movie Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Is about a Masonic ritual basically, and Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, I believe, are in that. But yeah, it's super creepy nonetheless. Like, why would you choose to do that? And I know Hollywood's like, that culture is like insane, and like they just throw insane parties just because they can.
They can,
so, I don't know.
You never know.
You don't. Is it strange? Very.
Yeah.
But you don't know if they're just doing shit to do shit.
Yeah.
Or not.
I mean, it's also like anything really old, you know? Like, there's a lot of history in Hollywood, so I'm sure there's a lot of shit that, you know, is being covered up, will be covered up.
I mean, that is not a conspiracy. Mm-mm. Like, there's definitely shit that gets covered up. I mean, Harvey Weinstein was covered up for decades.
Yeah.
And he was just, like, basically raping girls.
Yep.
for roles in movies.
Yep.
And, I mean, you know that shit still goes on, but no one's saying anything. It's just, like, who's the next person to get caught.
Yeah.
So, yeah. On a lighter note, let's see. I sent you one about the Titanic, and I know we've talked about this. I love the
Titanic.
This one is honestly one of the most cut and dry cases, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I think we touched on this.
Yeah.
I don't know that we went into super detail, but like, I think, correct me if I mess up, but the Titanic was one of 3 ships, I think.
Yeah.
And one of the ships, the Britannica.
Okay.
Almost identical. Mm-hmm. Like, there were minor details that were different, but if you looked at them side by side, like,
just as a normal
person, there's no way you're distinguishing between the two. And so the idea is that one of the ships, not the Titanic, was sunk.
Right.
For insurance money. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. Like, the iceberg was not a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, how would we ever know?
Yeah.
If it was real or not.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
It's just crazy to me, one, that, like, you never hear about the other ship that looked just like the Titanic. You never, like, hear...
Oh, no, you never hear about it.
I mean, like, that was the first time I'd ever heard about it. You never know. Or, like, you've never heard that could have been no iceberg. Like, that's just what everyone has told you. You know?
Well, and you never heard that the individuals that were on the sunken boat...
Right.
Were
anti
Federal Reserve.
Yep.
And then the year after that, Federal Reserve gets created.
Yep.
And JP Morgan was not on the ship.
Yep.
And was supposed to be on the ship.
Yep. And you're like,
well,
of course you were.
Yeah, of course you were, exactly. So there's weird stuff like that as well. Mm-hmm. We have one about T-Pain talking about flat Earth.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the flat Earth, I was so in agreement with T-Pain here. Like, I want that shit to be true.
I do. I do too. But
because flat Earthers are so dedicated.
They're dedicated,
and they are so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And you probably know a flat Earther, whether you know it or not. Like, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just love them.
Uh-huh.
Like, the documentary I watched on them, I was like, that is awesome. Like, they, for sure. And, like, if you confront them, like, they have an answer.
They do, yes.
And it's unreal because I could never think of an answer.
Yeah, I know, right?
But, like, so, yeah, anyway, what T-Pain was saying.
It's one of those things for me, like, I would I think it would be fun to know if the Earth is flat. But at the same time, this affects my life zero.
Yep.
I'm not going anywhere to where I'm going to be bothered by if the Earth is flat. To me, on a day-to-day basis, the Earth is flat.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I mean, sorry about the train. I don't know if we can hear the train.
Well, they heard me yakking.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like you don't notice the curvature of the Earth when you're on the Earth.
Right.
Which makes sense because if we did, it would be an absolute clusterfuck.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Yeah, but
wasn't he saying something to the effect of like he wants to know what's underneath it?
Yeah, he wants to know what's underneath the Earth.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think the idea is that so you can't go to if you wanted to go to Antarctica by yourself, like you could not get to Antarctica. One, because there's a big ocean, but two, because different countries control different parts of Antarctica. And if you just went there, just let's say you had all the gear, like you knew how to survive, blah, 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 you would get arrested.
Oh.
Like you can't just go to Antarctica. So that's a weird part to me, right? Because what other place in the world can you not just like go to? I mean, you got to have a passport and a visa or something, but you can't just go to Antarctica.
Right. Well, my boyfriend was telling me that there's a theory about there being a hole in Antarctica where aliens live.
Yes, because
there's been some like pilots that have flown over there and they're like, oh no, you can't fly over there.
Yeah, and the North Pole as well.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a famous story of a U.S. admiral who did that.
Maybe that's...
Yeah, and he flew up and it became like green.
Yeah.
It became like green and lush and...
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he was over the North Pole and his flight crew was like... They all were just like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
And... They supposedly like went down into the earth and
like you can that's what I've heard.
Yeah, and they were like greeted by this other race of humans.
I love that one.
That's a good one. I would like that.
Like I'm trying to go. Yeah, is the thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, there's that. But yeah, as far as what would be under the earth?
I know.
The opposite of what above is, the old saying above or what's it above as above so below
maybe
or whatever. Yeah.
What if it's just like the alternate universe?
Possible. But like then what's keeping us on? Right. So gravity happens because the Earth spins and we're rotating around the sun. So, like, then what's keeping us on the ground?
Where's the gravity coming from?
Yeah.
What if it's flat, but we're still spinning? Like, what if we're, like, flipping over?
We're just like a disc.
Yeah.
We're spinning. Yeah, I mean.
Or, like,
yeah.
Like, on a, like, axis. Like, if you have a 2x4.
Or, like, one of those spinny tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just they keep spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, we're really coming up with great solutions here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's kept us like sane, this new group chat.
It does. Yeah, it has.
So it's been a good thing for us.
Speaking of Antarctica, there's that one I sent you about the pyramids in Antarctica.
Oh,
it was like the Google Earth view.
Yeah.
And it looked like these.
It was like zooming in.
Yeah, it looked like these things coming out of the ground.
Dude.
I mean, look, there's pyramids in Egypt. There's pyramids in Central America. The Aztecs. There's pyramids in... There's even pyramids in, like, China that the Chinese government won't let other...
Yeah.
Like, people come in and see. There's pyramids in, like, Serbia.
Yeah.
As well that people don't really know about.
Yeah.
There's pyramids all over the world.
Yeah.
So...
What makes you think
why not Antarctica?
Yeah, especially if there was some, higher being or intelligence that, if you think like that are in charge or responsible of all the other pyramids.
Yeah, and like
that's a theory, but
we know that Antarctica has not always had ice on it.
Right.
Like, it's not always been a huge block of ice.
Right.
Like, a lot of the ice is receding currently.
Right.
So,
what shall we uncover?
Yeah, exactly. What shall we find?
Especially if it's been in ice, like, that shit's going to be preserved.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. They pull mummies from, like, the Tibet region and even, like, the Andes, and they still have hair.
Right.
Their hair is still on their head. Like, it's, like...
freaky.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we watched... I don't know if you watched it, but... what's his name? The Ancient Apocalypse? Graham.
Oh, Graham Hancock.
Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
Wild dude.
He's a dude.
We were just talking last night at dinner, like, he's such a legend.
He is a legend.
Regardless of what you think.
He has literally never changed his stance.
No.
And he's just gotten more information.
Honestly. Like, of all the shit we hear that no one can provide, like, background on or, like, to prove their point.
Yeah.
Like, he does. And, like, he finds people who have information. And, like, he tries to back up what he's saying. So, I think he's very interesting. And just, like, yes, very persuasive. Like, the documentary was killer. Yeah. The Ancient Apocalypse, but...
Did he talk about the Amazon at all? Because I think it was on Rogan or someone. He was talking about how they'd done that LiDAR thing in the Amazon, and they'd found, like, road systems and stuff.
I know a lot of what he talked about on the times with Joe Rogan, like, wasn't even... touched.
Yeah.
I feel like the documentary was just about, like, ancient structures on Earth.
Oh,
and how those specifically can prove his point. But I know a lot of stuff he talked to Joe Rogan about was, like, you know, not really touched on. But for, like, a little bit of the episode of the documentary, Joe Rogan's on it. And he's basically just like, so what's the issue with people accepting this? Basically, Graham's like, well... if people accept it, like, the world as we know it, like, isn't the same. Like, what everyone believes, like, what they've basically built their, like, morals on, and their life is, like, and to think that maybe we weren't the most, or aren't the most intelligent thing that's ever been on the earth, like, people have a problem with.
Yeah, I think he's right.
And I was like, 100%.
I think all religions as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, maybe not Hindu and Buddhism, just because they are, Hinduism is definitely older than all the other ones, but Buddhism not so much. But as far as the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, I mean, pretty much blows apart a lot of the foundation.
It does. And it's like, well... what the fuck are people going to do? If what they've known forever isn't true. Yeah. Like, that's the stuff that interests me. Because it's like, it's just baffling how something can be believed for so long. Only for there to be something that comes along and, like, legitimately questions it. I just think it's, like, a weird, like, human nature thing. Like, how we're so afraid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Because, like, we were talking about this last night, all ancient cultures have a flood myth. And the farthest we go back as far as, like, laws and society is ancient Mesopotamia. Yeah. And that was, like, 5,000 years ago. Yeah. And, like, the Earth is, like, like millions of years old.
And we're just like, we for sure were the first.
Yeah, like, you're like, this 5,000 years ago, like... first time anyone had any laws or anything, and you're just like,
maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, that's the farthest we can prove, right? But, like, given the timeline, that just doesn't. I don't know. For me, it doesn't do it. No, it's like, even if it's like only 20,000 years ago, like, there had to be something. Yep. I mean, I know they say, like, there were obviously, like, other Homo sapiens. Yep. Because they find, like, smaller humanoids, and, like, they find them in, like, the Indonesia area. They found really small humanoids. I mean, they find, like, Denisovans, and Neanderthal bones. So there were other humans around. Yeah. But You're right. Those don't point to like a super advanced civilization, and that's the issue, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you prove that it was more advanced than us?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which is also, I mean, and since there was a flood myth, all that shit could be underwater.
For sure.
Like Atlantis. Like, I know people think Atlantis is like a fantasy, but not really. Like, it's either Plato or Aristotle. I can't remember.
Oh, I think it was Plato.
Yeah, I think it's Plato. He he wrote down an exchange he had with it was like an Egyptian priest or mystic or something, and this Egyptian guy was talking. He references Atlantis in his writings. Yes. Yeah, and so I mean that only makes you think: how long does that go back?
Yeah,
like how far does Egypt go back, and what was before Egypt?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Because Egypt's right on the ocean.
Yep,
in the Mediterranean. So,
well, they do on the documentary. They do a little part about Atlantis.
Oh yeah,
and Bimini Road.
Yep. Yeah, in the Bahamas.
Yep. And you're just like, okay, that's pretty wild.
There's underwater archaeology is an insane concept.
Well, and there's a guy who's been doing it for like the sweetest man.
Yeah.
And he's just been doing it. Like he just loves it. And so he was the one who like went down with Graham to look at Bimini Road.
Wow.
And he's like, I just don't know why people aren't listening. Like this shit's awesome. Like he's really coming from a place of like, it should be a good thing that people were able to do this before us.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know, and it also makes you think like, you know, and like, I mean, I hear it every Sunday when I go to church. Like they talk about like, yeah, you know, God was like, I'm not pleased with y'all's path. So we're going to knock you out with a flood or like, we're going to send you back.
Yeah.
Like in some way so you guys can have another chance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it wasn't out of like hate or like anything like that, but like we can do better. So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe this civilization wasn't like doing as well as it, if it was a thing, like they were intelligent, sure. But if you come from it from like some type of higher being aspect, it's just interesting to think about.
Well, then surely we're going to get fucked up here soon, right?
Exactly. And I'm
I mean,
if history does repeat itself, like
what the fuck were they doing?
I know.
Because some of the shit I see happening is like,
that's why I'm like, damn, maybe there's still some hope left for us to like salvage the shit that's happening in the world.
I guess maybe it's like a numbers game.
Yeah.
So like there were less of us back then,
True.
but more of that population was bad.
It's true.
And so now it's just like weighing the scales.
He's like, gosh, I don't know when to do it.
Yeah. He's just up there with like a weight scale, just like balancing it out.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just it. That's a thought that popped into my head, like, because they talk about like floods in every culture.
Every culture has a flood.
So I'm like, clearly everyone saw the same thing, but it's just like,
yeah, you would think. I mean, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Did you have to read that in high school? That shit's all about ancient history.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a flood myth because they go and find the guy who survived. And he's up on a mountain somewhere like, fuck that. I'm done with society. Out. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Which at the time I read it in high school, I was like, I don't get this. Like, what's going on? But
I know, I can't believe that was like what we read in high school.
It's way too advanced for high schoolers. It's like
we clearly did not get it.
Yeah, give us like give me some more John Steinbeck.
Yeah.
Even though it's boring as shit, like
you
know, it's not.
Make me read more poetry or something.
Contemplating existence. Yeah, seriously. Let's see. I know there were a couple. Oh yeah, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh,
how has no one ever told me about this?
Yeah. I was baffled.
This was crazy to me. Like I know I always knew St. Patrick's Day was like not, you know. I always knew that it like wasn't exactly what I was saying, but like among many other things, the Catholic Church has taken something and made it not
as bad.
As bad.
Or like a different narrative.
Yeah, I mean, so basically St. Patrick was a St. Patrick with air quotes. Also, I want to talk about the Roman Empire after this. So
Okay.
remind me to do that. Basically, St. Patrick went to Ireland to kill all the pagans, and that the pagans are the snakes.
Yes.
So the traditional story is that he went there to banish, or no, he didn't go there too, but he banished all the snakes from Ireland.
Yep.
And in a sense, he did when he killed all of the pagans
Right.
and original inhabitants of Britain.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what we're celebrating on St. Patrick's Day.
That's it. And I was
all.
like, damn it. I love St. Patrick's Day.
I do too, and like I'll still drink Irish beer, but how did it go from a Roman general, whatever he was, his dad was in the Roman military, how did it go from Romans invading Britain and killing everyone to a little leprechaun guy with a black hat?
Like, you wonder where in the game of telephone that one got messed up.
Yeah, I just like, yeah, how did that transition happen? I don't get it.
And like, then we like Americanized it so much that it's
Yeah.
just like one big party.
It's just one big
like,
party.
I love a reason to party.
Yeah, I'm all about, and I guess like it's your intention.
Yeah.
Like no one knows that this really. Well, some people do, but not, the general public does not know that this killing was behind St. Patrick.
Right.
So I guess it's part of the intention behind it. Like we're not celebrating the killing of probably hundreds of thousands of
Right.
original Britons, but it's still it's still just fucked up how it got lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
The Roman?
the Roman
Okay.
Empire basically stole Christianity.
Okay.
So obviously Jesus was killed by Pontius Pilate. Roman, he was a Roman, the Roman prefect of that area at the time. So the Jews were like, we want Jesus dead. Pontius Pilate was like, okay,
I'll do it.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Like we do this every day. Like they crucified people every day. Like they had literally had people crucified on the road leading up to Jerusalem, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it was just
Very normal thing for him.
Yeah, another thing for them. So he was like, yeah, we'll do it. After that, obviously, the disciples went out, started building local churches, different cities. Mm-hmm. Eventually, Christianity got to the point where the Roman Empire could no longer ignore its existence.
Right.
And so the Roman Empire just adopts Christianity. They're just like, fuck Zeus, fuck
that's
Ares,
true.
fuck all these gods of war, and screw them. Like we don't need this anymore. We're going to adopt Christianity and Jesus, Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
So at that point, obviously, the papacy is developed, and the original seat of the pagan Roman Empire is now the seat of the monotheistic Christian religion.
Yeah.
Which is pretty weird. Right?
It is.
That an empire that took their gods from ancient Greece eventually just adopts a whole monotheistic religion.
Yes.
Like that's pretty astounding.
Like a huge shift.
Huge shift.
Yeah.
And obviously Christianity is like that. Yes, that's what we wanted. Like there's, and I believe it. Like I believe there's one God.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily respect the ways that Christianity has gone about spreading Christianity, but is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird thing that Christianity just was plopped on top of where the old Roman Empire was made.
Yeah. What do you think? There's like something behind it, like.
I mean, if you look at the symbolism of the Roman Empire, it's an eagle.
Okay.
What is the symbolism of the United States today?
An eagle.
An eagle. A lot of people say that the United States is just an extension of the old Roman Empire. Yeah. because we have an eagle is our symbolism, and when like the Roman troops would go and like take over, they would carry a giant eagle, like a golden eagle, like symbol. Yeah. And so
dang,
people claim that like the U.S. is the hub of the new Roman Empire.
Okay.
And that like obviously the Catholicism more generally is still based in Rome. So that's the religious.
Okay.
That's the religious.
I was gonna
center.
say, in what way are we the hub?
Yes.
Like,
so we're like the military hub.
Gotcha.
So it's like Rome is the religious hub.
Yep.
Okay. London, right, where the Romans conquered, is the banking hub.
Yeah.
And then DC is the military hub.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not putting it past them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either. I mean, if you look at how many bases we have around the world, like, do I like that? Like,
I know.
Yes. I mean, I think the U.S. and the Western world are very safe.
Right.
And I really wouldn't. I like other places in the world, but I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
that is
I don't
interesting.
know. It's tough. It's. I mean, that's like 2,000 years of expansion.
Right. I mean, it's very like we didn't just like pop out of nowhere.
Exactly.
And be this like powerhouse.
Exactly. And we know that Christopher Columbus was not the first person
Right.
to come to come to North America.
Right.
Like the Vikings have been coming here for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. So like they knew there was another land across the sea.
Yeah.
Like who it was that knew, I don't know, but like there were settlements. Like they knew long before 1492 that Christopher Columbus was just looking for a route to the Spice Islands.
Yeah.
And he just went the fucking wrong direction.
And now he's all we talk about.
Yeah, ended up in the Dominican Republic. Like
honestly, I hope my mistakes are that famous.
Yeah, I hope my mistakes lead me to be that profound.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a very interesting point.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Constantinople, Istanbul used to be the hub of Christianity, but then the Muslim Empire at the time took that over.
Yeah.
So that whole story is crazy.
Yeah.
I tried listening to a podcast about like because the Roman Empire went from Rome to Constantinople for a while. It like shifted. And then Constantinople got overran by Islam because of different battles and what, and they conquered.
Yeah, who was like the main, like, I guess like army who conquered it? Like, what were they called? Or what group was it?
I mean, it was like the I don't know what group. I don't know specifically, but I mean, I think it was a bunch of Turkic tribes. Yeah, it was a bunch of Turkic tribes coming, like, they came over from, like, Syria and where the Prophet Muhammad was. Right. And where Islam developed. Yeah. Yeah. Because the Crusades happened. Yeah. And they conquered Jerusalem. And then, I don't know specifically, but I think they just moved up. And then you know how, because Turkey basically connects Asia and Europe. Yes. I think they just moved across Turkey into, it's so convoluted.
So much happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I think they just moved in and conquered Istanbul.
Dang.
Yeah. So.
I love that we then like try to simplify it into like this religion.
Yeah. I know.
And then like, and like we all literally were like basically fighting over the same place.
Oh yeah.
And like we basically came from the same place, you know? Yeah. Like, and a lot of the beliefs are like the basis of the three major religions are the same.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's crazy. And there's like a little something at the end that's different.
Yeah. It's all the, I mean, it's the same God.
Yeah.
Like,
which is like, isn't that what's important?
Yeah. I mean, it should be. Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
But like, then you mix in like, you know, military and like, like you were just talking about with the Roman.
Yeah.
Like it's not simple.
Not at all. Not at all.
But who knows? Maybe we'll get wiped out by a flood here.
I think we're pretty safe, but maybe some of the other states might be.
We'll be fine.
Well, I was in England about a month and a half ago. There is no natural disasters over there. There's nothing. I didn't see one bug while I was there the whole time.
I need to go.
Not one bug. It was there's no well, I've never heard of an earthquake in Great Britain. I've never heard of a tsunami in Great Britain.
Yeah.
It was incredibly green. Like everything was green. Yeah. It's a really weird, it's a really strange island.
Yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we got tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, or not tsunamis, hurricanes. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. You don't think about it.
Well, yeah. No, you don't.
For a large portion, I mean, there I guess there are some earthquakes in maybe the more mountainous regions of Europe, but
right.
I mean, unless you're on the coast, I mean, there's not really, because I know like the Netherlands is kind of like below sea level, but
yeah. I was talking with someone and I was like, oh, I thought we were talking about like Beijing or something, and I'm like, no, I think it's like really cold there
in China.
Yeah. And then they were like, I don't think it is. But, like, you never think about looking at those places on a map in relative latitude to, like, places you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I was so skewed where I thought Beijing was. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I guess it probably gets, like, sometimes cold.
I'm sure. I mean, I know there are a lot of mountains in China.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, China's huge as well.
That's what I was like, in my
So
head, I was
big.
picturing, like, just, like, vast mountainous, like,
Yeah.
regions. I was like, that has to be cold.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
I'm
like,
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, as you go north, it hits like Mongolia and Tibet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Did you want to touch on the couple things, the articles you had?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we'll save those for later.
Okay.
I was just seeing if there's anything we
Missed?
Yeah. Oh, this one guy. I didn't look up his name yet, but he's this black guy that is just like dropping. You know what guy I'm talking about? Yeah. He's just like dropping bombs. Just like. So there's this black satellite that has been orbiting Earth for I don't know how long, but it's just sitting up there, and like there's a spacecraft that took a really high resolution picture of it. And it's really ominous. It's just sitting there not doing anything. And people just say, or NASA just says it's space junk. But it's like doesn't
No, it's not.
look like space junk at all.
Right, not at all.
So he was talking about that. He was also talking about like how back in the day, like people lived to be like 300 years old, super old. And they say that, I think he was talking about genetic manipulation or something.
That's
where,
what it was,
where like they somehow, and this is in the Ancient Aliens type of realm where they say that like, whether it was the Anunnaki or whoever went back and like edited our genome to be like, yeah, these people shouldn't live that long. Like, we're going to top it at like 120. And they put caps on our telomeres, which basically, as you get older, your telomeres basically get shorter.
Yeah. Well, like biblical stories, like we're like, shit, these people live to be 200.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and we're thinking they're like exaggerating or like it's because it is a story.
It is
for the most part. But you're like,
is this?
I'm not sure why the age is what they would embellish.
Yeah, why is that specifically?
But now you're like, maybe they
did
actually were old as shit.
Yeah,
but it is super interesting.
Yeah,
and like all of the like stuff we eat that, you know, obviously like if you eat bad, it reduces your lifespan typically. But just like totally changing like our genes, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying, but at the same time, it's like almost unavoidable.
It is.
Like, to not eat stuff that is GMO is like, I mean, you either have to live in the middle of nowhere and grow your own food, or like literally only eat meat, and most vegetables are like GMO. Yeah. Like, it's unfortunately, and this is a whole nother thing with like Cargill and like a bunch of other agriculture companies and food companies, but it's almost unavoidable.
Yep.
Yeah. So that part is also scary as well.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. And like the whole thing about like how a cure for cancer hasn't been found yet. I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah. And it's just, it's kind of weird to me with like how much shit we can do medically, how something has, because all cancer is basically bad cell growth. I mean, there's obviously more complexities to it, but like, I just don't know how. Yeah.
It's like, no way.
It's just kind of baffling. And maybe if I did more research, I'd be like, oh, well, but
yeah,
coming from just thinking about it, like it doesn't make a lot of sense how radiation and just injecting tons of drugs into your body is the only way.
The answer.
Yeah, and making you more miserable is the only answer to curing that. Yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. But nice.
Well, I think something that our wonderful mother sent, I don't know if she sent you it, but it kind of like will help us end on a high note.
Yeah.
But basically it's just this guy we like to follow on Instagram. But he said this morning, he said, the concept of hacking happiness is a relatively new concept. Think about our ancestors, as we talk a lot about. The people who came before us, they probably weren't thinking about hacking their happiness in any way. An honest day's work, good food, family, and community. It seems like it really is that simple. But our generation and like the modern world is obsessed with trying to define something that is undefinable. And it's like, so literally that some things are not meant to be defined. Yeah. Like, I just thought that was so interesting.
That is interesting.
Because, like, people try to eat diets like our ancestors, try to, like, use, like, minerals and oils that, like, our ancestors used. And it's like, they weren't, like, I doubt they're like, let me rub this oil all over my body. Or, like, let me put it in my morning cup of, like, whatever they drank.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, like, it was there. But, like, you know, I was like, there was more time to spend with, like, family and people you care about. And, like, just finding, just like living how they were living. Like there was no thing they were trying to attain.
Exactly.
I thought it was put very well. Like we try so hard to be happy, and it's like, it really is simple.
It is simple. There are definitely nuances in the modern world that make it more difficult. But when it comes down to it, like, I think people worry too much about, and I don't think this is a mystery to a lot of people, but they worry about things that they can't control.
And most people are aware that they do that,
Yeah, most people are aware that they do it, yet we still do it.
Yep.
And, like I'm going through a teaching course right now that, like, everything is like, how should I say this? In my initial reaction to the course, everything is put too complex. Like, they're trying to teach us certain things, but, like, I'm already doing those things. They're just showing me in more words.
Yep.
And I think that is generally what happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, you good over there?
Wow.
Jeez.
Guys.
Yeah, but like things are put too complex these days, and I think people feel like they have to
be complicated
in order to show that you're doing more. Which I could go off on a tangent about that. Yeah, but I think people they think that, like, oh, I wrote a 2-page paragraph, or sorry, a 2-page like article. Could you have put that in a 1-page and express the same thing?
Yeah.
Like, I think, and I catch myself doing that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think life's definitely more simple than we.
And like, the things we talk about on here, like what we really, all the shit we don't know or have control over.
Yeah.
And like, we're just like, you know, shoot the shit about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, people like spend their minutes of their day like stressing about, you know, is something bad going to happen to me?
Exactly.
Like, oh, like, will Jesus come back? Like, what's going to happen? Like, you really have no control.
No.
At all.
You don't. I always go back, and I guess we can end with this. I always go back to, like, I remember asking Kyle this when he used to be on the podcast.
Kyle.
Yeah, shout out Kyle. Would you rather live back, like, right when TVs came out, like, even in the radio era?
Yeah.
You could only listen to 3 sources of information.
Yeah.
Or would you rather have all the information right now and try to sift through that?
Right.
And the older I get, the more I honestly would just want to have the 3 news sources.
Yeah.
Like, do I like knowing shit? Yes. Do I hate the anxiety that it puts in my head?
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Yeah. There's just too much noise.
Too much noise.
And it's a challenge to cancel it out.
Yeah.
Like, you have to work to cancel that
you
shit
do.
out.
Yeah, it's like effort you have to put towards that.
It is.
Instead of like the things that matter.
Yeah.
But no need to hack happiness.
No.
You already got it.
Just find what you like to do and get good at it, I guess. Yeah. It's tougher than that, but to start, I think it's as simple as that.
For sure.
Also, FIFA World Cup going on right now.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it being in Qatar, but is what it is. There's been some really good games. So, yeah.
Yeah, we could get into that too, but we won't.
But we won't. That's even more depressing.
It is, yeah. But yes, great time for the World Cup. I love it that it's in the winter.
I like it more than I thought I would.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have like 2 weeks off work.
Yeah.
And it like falls right after I get off and then the championship happens.
Yeah.
I do not care who is playing. I'm picking a side and going for it.
Have to.
So it'll be good.
Yeah, be fun.
We've enjoyed it. So
we have.
If you're into that, let us know.
Yeah, keep watching. Okay, you can find us on Twitter at World We Live Pod. Find us on Facebook at World We Live In Podcast. Find us on Instagram at The World We Live In Podcast. Go Apple Music. I'm sorry, Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Hit that subscribe button.
Hell yeah.
Tell your friends. Spread the news.
Make your family listen to us.
Yeah.
Don't talk politics and listen to us.
Yeah. Just put us on the loudspeaker.
Yeah, like no Christmas music, just our voices. That's what I'm going to do. So.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to just make everyone listen to me talk.
I'm down.
Yep.
I'm down. Well, cool. Be safe out there, y'all, and we'll talk to you next time.